Hey everyone, I thought today I would just sit down and have a little Q&A with you guys because it's been a while since I've done my last Q&A. I think, God, I don't even know when the last one was, but I reached out to you guys on my Patreon, on like my Discord, as well as over on Instagram stories. So let's get into them. Okay, before I get into the questions, I did just want to let you guys know that I won Cosplayer of the Year in the TheGameHers Awards. This is maybe 2 days after I got the word that I won that, and I still don't believe it. I wanted to tell you guys that, you know, I am just so thankful for everyone that voted, that shared, that just championed me in this, because I am very bad at selling myself and like marketing myself out there. I would not have gotten here without you guys. So thank you again so much. And I did just want to let you guys know that, yeah, I won. It's weird. I don't know how to think about it. And the last thing before I get into the questions is I just wanted to remind you all that I am doing that helmet giveaway for the holidays that's benefiting Humane Animal Rescue of Pittsburgh. If you want any more information on that, I will link that video down below. And yeah, okay, now let's get into the questions. The first one here is from Cummins454 on Patreon. Thank you again for being a Patreon member. And he asks, what is your guilty obsession with YouTube or social media watch? I watch ASMR. I watch a lot of ASMR, mostly whenever I work, because I need something, like I need some kind of noise going on whenever I'm working, and I'm very particular about the noise that I need. Sometimes it'll be podcasts, sometimes it'll be whatever, and then there will be other times that I need to write, and ASMR and like those ambiance rooms are really good for that kind of stuff for me. I guess the other like guilty pleasure watch is that my husband and I watch a lot of Disney food blogs. We love going to Disney World and all that kind of stuff, but we just find Disney food blog to just be the perfect thing to always have on in the background. There will be times that we'll be watching videos of hers, and I love AJ, I love all that they do, but we'll have a video on and it'll have been going for like 40 minutes and we'll be like, what did she even say? Because it's just like, it's good background noise. And he also asked the question, who are some of the makers and cosplayers that inspire you? I want to go back to like the very first person that inspired me. Her name is Grace, and she goes by Zombie's Workshop, or I believe her channel is called Grace Willow Crafts. I watched so much of her stuff. I still watch like her videos to this day, and just the way that she presented herself in her tutorials and like just her personality, she really was the person that kind of motivated me to make my own YouTube channel. She really was the person that got me in front of the camera and not being afraid to like make my mistakes known to the world and all that kind of stuff. The next question is also from a Patreon member, Jewel Triumph. Thank you again for being on Patreon. And she asked, what is your normal person job? My official title is that I am a line of business risk analyst, and that can mean a lot of things at many different companies. But where I work, we basically work with other groups of people, and we essentially make sure that they do their annual reviews on their content every single year, because I work in a, you know, business that has a lot of regulation, has a lot of that kind of oversight from the government, and we're the people that make sure that everyone else is doing their reviews and making sure that their content is, you know, within regulations and within all those guidelines and stuff like that. But what that means for like my day-to-day job is that I run a SharePoint. I built our SharePoint from like the ground up to have all these forms and stuff. I also manage Jira boards for our workflow and getting things, you know, sent out and back in a timely fashion. So that would probably explain to you why I'm really big on Kanban boards and stuff like that. I'm the person that I email someone and they never want to get an email from me, because it means that I'm making them do work that they probably don't want to do. And she also asked, what are some of my other hobbies other than cosplaying? You know, whenever I saw that question, I was like, oh, I have so many other hobbies other than cosplay. And I do, but I feel like I'm drawing a blank right now. But I really do enjoy playing video games. I play a ton of video games. I just recently got a Steam Deck and I absolutely love that thing. I've got at least 200 hours on that stupid handheld. I'm also a pretty avid cyclist. This past year, we didn't do a lot of outside bike riding because we were working on the house and stuff like that, but hopefully next year I'll get back into shape and we can do some longer rides outside. I'm also really big into planners. I love paper planning and, you know, mapping out my day, and I am one of those people that uses like stickers and stuff in my planners. I'm not crazy about it, but it is kind of nice. It's like my little, it's like the thing that I do just for myself that's still creative, and it also kind of helps with, you know, keeping my brain straight. And the last thing is I really do enjoy traveling. I don't know if that's considered a hobby. I don't know. That was one of like the added benefits of cosplaying, is that there's a lot of travel involved if you want to. You don't have to go to conventions if you don't want to as being a cosplayer, but it really helped that, you know, oh, I'm making this costume and we now have an excuse to go to this convention. I can show off this, you know, costume at that convention. So these are from Instagram, and let's see. So Sam Does Stuff asks, what material is the hardest to work with? For me, the hardest material to work with is probably Worbla. And I know I've used Worbla in the past, but you know, I've watched so many tutorials on people using Worbla, getting like these really nice seams and getting everything the way that they want and all the details kind of popping out. But I feel like every time that I've used Worbla, it has been more trouble than it's worth. I felt like I never got good at it, and I also felt like I was just wasting a lot of material because you buy these big sheets of it, and then usually you have to sandwich whatever you're, you know, trying to cover with it, and then you have just a big old hole in the middle of it, and then there's all the scrap. And yes, of course you can save the scrap and then melt it down and use it, you know, again for other things. But as a lot of you probably saw in my decluttering video, I had these huge bags of Worbla scraps and I just never ended up using them. So I tend to really just gravitate towards like EVA foam and 3D printing. I don't really like to mess with Worbla anymore. I'm sure that there's some other video of me complaining about some other material that I hate, but right now, I don't know, I just have a beef with Worbla right now. Let's get on to the next question, and this one is from Sniperman02. He asks, you do a lot of sci-fi cosplay. Do you like or play Halo? I've played a little bit of Halo Combat Evolved. I want to say that I got to the cartographer map. It's the map where you're like like on the beach and then you're also in like some facility, and I finished that quest and then fell off of it. I don't remember what happened. There was probably some video game that came out while I was playing that, and the other one took my attention, which happens a lot of the time whenever I'm playing games. But I do want to get back and finish it. I'm just very bad at games that don't really tell you where to go. I know a lot of earlier games were like that, and I struggle with that a lot. I need that extra, you know, I need that waypoint. I need that thing telling me where to go because I have no sense of direction in real life as well as in video games. So that's kind of why I think I fell off of Halo a little bit, because I just didn't know where I was going. A lot of the environments look the same, so I would get turned around a lot. I really do enjoy Halo lore. I know a lot about Halo lore. I just, you know, have never finished the games. But yeah, I enjoy Halo. I like the aesthetic of it. I like the music and stuff, but have not finished a game yet. Jinky Liazel asks, how do you pick your next cosplay? Do you ever fail? Because your outfits are amazing. Thank you, first of all. And second, oh yeah, I definitely fail to finish costumes. That has been a huge, huge thing in the back of my mind this year. I have a lot of costumes that I have not finished. If you watch my decluttering video, I think I talk about a few of them. Like I started a Legiana armor cosplay from Monster Hunter World. I have a Chocobo Keep that I made from Final Fantasy XIV that I never finished. There's a lot of costumes and projects that I've never finished. So how do I go about choosing what I cosplay? I don't really know. So my husband has this thing that he calls my delusions of cosplay, where I'll be playing a game or I'll be, you know, watching a movie or something, and he says that he can tell the moment that I'm interested in a costume. Like he can see the gears turning and all that stuff. I usually don't recognize that I want to cosplay something until like maybe a little bit later, like I've had time to process it. There will be costumes or characters that I will look at them and think, oh my god, that would be such a fun costume to make. Like, I guess a good example would be Fennec Shand. So the main reason I liked her was because of the helmet that she has. She has this helmet where you can only see her eyes, and I really like that. I have cosplayed characters like Imperial Jen Urso as well as Zori Bliss, and they have helmets like that. So I was instantly drawn to that aesthetic, and I made the helmet, I purchased the costume, but the thing is I never actually, I wore it all together once, but I was like, I'm not really into this. I really just like the helmet. There will be times where I think that I'm super into a costume or something like that, and then once I put it on, I'm like, oh, I'm not really feeling this. That really sucks, and it does happen. I'm not really sure if I answered the first question correctly, but it really does depend. There will be crazy things that will spark inspiration for me to start a costume. Like, I actually have a video planned to talk about how going through and decluttering this whole space, as well as, you know, needing something more challenging and something new and fresh is the reason that I'm probably going to start finally working on an Aloy build. I'm going to be working on her original outfit. And that wasn't really a cut and dry, I'm going to decide to do it. I have been buying supplies for that specific costume for the past 2 years. Like 2 years ago, I thought I was going to make it and then everything happened. I'd say that there is a lot more nuance to deciding what to cosplay these days, especially because I'm more aware of just how large costumes are and how much space they take up in my, you know, actual physical space. And so I've been kind of slowing down and focusing more on just, you know, making one big build a year, or focusing on something that really challenges me. Like with this Aloy costume, it's a lot of hand stitching, it's a lot of leather work, and I've just been craving something different. I've been working with 3D prints for like the past 2 years, and I just want something different. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Not sure if I answered your question well enough, but yeah, yeah, if you think that I don't fail, oh my god, I have so many failures and so many costumes that have not seen the light of day and that won't. So it's totally normal, you know, you may get halfway through a costume and really just decide that it's not working out for you anymore. And I've been there, and I have stopped working on costumes, and I've agonized over the money and the sunk costs that I put into it. This hobby is for fun, and if you're not having fun, and as long as no one is paying you to build whatever you're working on, and you know, all that kind of stuff, there's no shame in either, you know, completely quitting and putting it to the side, or just, you know, putting it off to the side for a little bit, and maybe, you know, eventually in a year or two you may want to come back to it, kind of like I am with this Aloy cosplay. The Meow DeLorean, I love that name, by the way. What is the worst thing about ADHD for you? Okay, so for me right now, and just as a point of reference, I was only diagnosed with ADHD this past year. Really haven't even gone through an entire year of knowing that my brain is like this. But for me right now, the issue and the biggest thing that I hate about ADHD is hyperfocus. And a lot of people with ADHD or not, you know, they hear hyperfocus and hear all these stories of people talking about how hyperfocus is a superpower or ADHD is my superpower. And I'm not saying that you can't think of it that way. There are people that think that way, and that's great. That's how they feel. However, for me, it's not, because I know that, you know, and I guess let me explain what hyperfocus is. It's the ability to focus on something for an extremely long period of time. So for example, I could say, you know, I could hyperfocus on a video game for like 6-7 hours if I'm very interested in it. And that sounds great, but at the same time, what people don't understand about hyperfocus is that you're only focusing on that thing. Like, I'm playing this video game for 6-7 hours. Sounds great. Sounds like I'm having a fun time. No, because during that time, I forget to eat, I forget to drink, I sometimes don't go to the bathroom, or I put off going to the bathroom. So whenever I'm done, I'm like rushing to the bathroom. Hyperfocus for me has been the most troublesome part, especially because I've recognized that that is how I was making a lot of my costumes over the past, who knows, probably since the beginning. I've been making them in these cycles of hyperfocus. Explains a lot of how I was able to, you know, I would spend a weekend and I would get so much done, and yet Monday I would be just absolutely, I would be wrecked. Like, I would need days of sleep and just of playing video games or something to just get myself back up and get myself to do the motivation of doing something. It's been really tough because the other part of hyperfocus that sucks is the ability to stop what you're doing. So what I've been working on with my therapists and just in general is flexing the stopping muscle. And this is gonna sound so weird to like people that don't have ADHD, but it's very, very hard whenever I'm hyper-focused on something to stop working on it. And just the other day, I had this bout of hyperfocus. I think I even tweeted about it, but it was Monday. I had just came back from my sister's. I went there for Thanksgiving, and like I thought I was gonna do some editing while I was there. I didn't, and that's totally fine. But on Monday, whenever I came back, I basically worked from 8 to 2 o'clock, and I was editing videos. I was doing, you know, other stuff. I was doing my day job, and I was just so hyper-focused for those 6 hours that I forgot to eat, forgot to drink, forgot to go to the bathroom, like all this stuff, and I felt like crap. And whenever I finally stopped, I was like, I was like almost buzzing with energy, and I needed to put that energy somewhere. So even though I hadn't eaten for like 6 hours, I decided to ride the Peloton bike for 30 minutes. And then after I got off the Peloton, I felt sick to my stomach and I couldn't eat, and I was so nauseous, and all I could eat was like you know, piece of bread. It was just like the worst feeling. And like that right there is what hyperfocus does to me. It's like I can't just do one task and then get up and do something else. Like I feel like I have to sit there and see the whole project through at that time, and it's just, it sucks. And that's why I've been trying to practice that whole stopping muscle, because I have a really hard time stopping whenever I'm really into something. I know a lot of people probably think that that's a really great thing to have, but trust me, it is not fun whenever you're on the other end of a hyper-focus session and you are just, you know, trying to make up for all that time of all the things that you should have also been doing, like eating and, you know, doing things to keep you alive. And it just sucks. So that's probably what I would say that I hate the most about it right now. I'm sure that that's gonna change, you know, as time goes on, but yeah, right now that's really what I've been trying to work through, and trying to get a better rhythm around making things and not getting trapped into that. Like, it's not to say that it's not gonna happen. It's definitely going to happen. Yeah, it sucks. It's not fun. Thank you again for all of your questions, as well as thank you to my Patreon supporters for your questions and also for your support. Remember to check out that holiday giveaway. I'll make sure to link that down below and in the cards. And as always, I will catch you guys next time. Bye!